Shalom, Yashrala. This your brother Dawada from GMS St. Petersburg, Florida, coming back at you with this here truth again. First and foremost, I want to give all praise unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that taught us this truth and that rule well. And salutation and much love for you, I can push in this truth and sincerity on the four corners of the earth, and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. All right, I want to touch on this here quick little lesson, basically putting in perspective, a compare and contrast of what we're going through right now unto what the Lord has already promised us. All right. And so, like the scriptures say, the things that was written aforetimes was written for our learning and our understanding. But also also to comfort one another with these words. So we can look at our past and some of our forefathers and things that they happened to go through and the promises that was made to them. All right. And we can, especially with King David, because we know that a lot of his promises will be fulfilled in the latter days. All right. So we're going to jump into 2 Samuel chapter 7. And to give you a backdrop, you have King David. Right. King David was, rejoicing in the Lord. And he said he wanted to build the Lord a house. And the Lord, his prophet, King Nathan. Let me just read verse 3, 2 Samuel 7:3. And Nathan said unto the king, go do all that is in thy heart, for Yahweh is with thee. All right. And so basically the Most High came to Nathan and told him that, look, bro, you look, go back. You got to go back and tell David he can't build me a house, because Nathan already told David to go ahead and build him a house. He was just speaking forth out of his own mouth, but the Lord came and corrected him and told him to correct David. You can't build me a house, but the Lord is about to, finish telling him, what he's going to do for him, So that's where we're going to pick up at. All right. It says, I'll read from verse 7. 2 Samuel 7:7. And all the places where, this is the Most High speaking, this is what the Most High told Nathan to tell King David, after he had already slipped up. Verse 7. And all the places where when I had walked with all the children of Israel, spake I a word with any of the tribes of Israel, whom I commanded to feed my people Israel, saying, why build ye not me a house of cedar? All right. And just as a side little cut, hey man, like the Most High don't change. When did he tell you to build him a black community or anything like that? Any little side note or something like that, build something for the Lord like that. The Most High's house at this point in time is a moving, sojourning body, man. We're not establishing ourselves nowhere other than in the place of Israel when he established us. So we're not supposed to be coming together as no type of body or no type of house. How do I say, as a so-called black community, i.e., for example, the only thing that we're supposed to be coming together is the men of the Lord, coming to raise up the prophets, the 144,000 and the 1/3. All right. And that's in preparation for the Lord to put us in our own place and to build us up as a nation. All right. But other than that, we're not supposed to be trying to build a so-called black community. But nevertheless, continuing on, verse 8, at this point, they was actually talking about building an actual temple, or, King David wanted to build a house because, that was just in his heart. Like, damn, the Most High done blessed me with this fat ass crib. I think he had like 2 or 3 palaces at this point in time, or they was just getting done building 2 or 3 palaces. Verse 8. Now therefore shalt thou say unto my servant David, thus saith Yahweh of hosts, I took thee from the sheepcote, from following the sheep, to being ruler over my people, over Israel. Okay, so basically, that's like saying, that's like really self-explanatory, but just put it in real life perspective in modern day today. All right, a lot of you jakes, put this in real perspective. A lot of us, we got like bullshit ass jobs, subservient jobs. Pretty much any job in America, whether it be picking some shit in the field or working in a sewage plant, and all of a sudden you go from, cleaning out the sewer lines to being the CEO over that company. All right. That would be a great turnover, becoming the CEO of the company that you're at the bottom of, but nevertheless, how much more being like basically the CEO over a whole nation, a ruler over a whole nation or a whole people or a whole globe. All right. But in this scenario, which, it's the same thing. Look, he said, being from the sheepcote, from following the sheep to being ruler over my people. All right. Over the Most High's people, the highest people on the face of the earth. All right. Over Israel. All right. That's even higher than just ruling over these other nations. You ruling over the Israelites. All right. It says, Verse 9, and I was with thee wherever so thou wentest, and have cut off all thy enemies out of thy sight, and have made thee a great name, like unto the name of the great men that are in the earth. So not only did the Most High deliver all of David's enemies into his hands, everybody that came up against him, or everybody that David came up against them, they was always smitten before King David. Everybody, David pulled his sword out towards, they was just laid down. That was just it. No questions asked. But nevertheless, continuing on, it says, verse 10, moreover, I will appoint a place for my people Israel, and plant them, that they will dwell in a place of their own, and move no more, neither shall the children of the wicked afflict them any more as before time. And so, what you have to understand is, so like I'm saying, these prophecies and these promises, they trickle down. Verse 10, that ain't had nothing to really do with, well, it did have something to do with King David, but not in that necessary time. That's going all the way down to now. All right, because we still, in that point in time, they was basically in their land. They hadn't been cut. Well, the Southern Kingdom. I think actually both kingdoms was there, but nevertheless, we hadn't been expelled from the land. All right, now we had to come back into the land, be planted back into the land in righteousness when Yahweh shall return. All right, so that's when that prophecy is gonna be fulfilled. I'm gonna read verse 11 as well. And as since the time that I commanded judges to be over my people, and caused thee to rest from all thy enemies, and Yahweh telleth thee that he will make thee a house. All right, so let me read verse 13. And he shall build a house for my name, and I will establish the throne of his kingdom forever. All right, going into basically verse 16 as well. And thine house and thy kingdom shall be established forever before thee. Thy throne shall be established forever. All right. So nevertheless, this is how, Yahushua basically is going all the way down into Yahushua. All right. And then after that, Yahushua is how do I say, going to be the head king, under the Most High, reigning over Israel, over all these, other nations. It's going to be, the Most High, Yahushua, King David, all right, the 12, the 144,000, all right. So basically what you have here being said to King David is like, look, bro, the Most High is telling him, I took you from the bottom of the bottom, all right, and I'm raising you up to be at the top of the top, man. Nobody's going to be over you. You think that, how do I say in perspective? King David had multiple brothers, right? All his other brothers was so-called ideal and the so-called regular society. One could be a good politician, one could be a good military man, one could be, favorable among the public. But King David, you know what I'm saying, when Samuel came over to Jesse's house, he was looking for one of his sons, all right? But Jesse was like, nah, here go all my sons, it's got to be one of them. Samuel was like, nah, you got to have another son somewhere else. And he was like, nah, it's just them right there. He's like, nah, you got to have somebody else. He was like, all right, well, we got David, but, he out in the sheepfold, He out there, cleaning up the stocks and shoveling the shit and washing the sheep and doing all that kind of shit. You don't want him. He just a little runt, But, that's not the guy you're looking for. You want one of these guys. These are all the better guys, And that's you men of the Lord right now, The house of David. You men of the Lord, you might feel like, especially walking the path that we walking now, man. You like a outcast from the society and certain things like that. And you see certain things, and not really that you desire in your flesh to so-called live a worldly life, but it's damn near like, bro, just like thinking about our lives and the things that we got with our life. We just basically slaves. We get up, we go to work to keep a damn roof over our head, you know what I'm saying? And we do the work of the Lord, and that's just it, That's our how do I say, our main rotation of things in our life, more or less to say, But nevertheless, we don't really have anything to look forward to. Just like King David, man, I just work out here in the fields. All my brothers get all the glory of everything else, Just like there's 2/3 of our people right now, they're so-called enjoying this society, enjoying life, getting to, living in nice neighborhoods and riding in nice cars and so on and so forth, even though that's carnally, but yet still we supposed to, we on this planet Earth, we could at least, how do I say, enjoy the so-called small things that we do have, but what? We can't even enjoy those things, So that's just like us being King David, being in the, how do I say, in the sheepfold, all right? Like out there in the barn, You over here stepping over some shit. You trying to, do something with this one sheep and you slip and fall in a goddamn pile of shit. You know what I'm saying? And you look, God damn it. You know what I'm saying? And that's just your whole life. You just, man, I'm sick of this fucking life, man. I always got to get up, go get the damn sheep and go deal with this and go deal with that. And, man, it's just always smelling like sheep shit. And, man, I just hate this fucking job, bro. Like, man, all my brothers get to get it and this and that. But what? The Most High took him from doing all that grunt work, that dirty work, you know what I'm saying? And how do I say? Exalted him up on high, on the highest, you know? His brothers, yeah, they could have all been somebody prominent in the so-called society, but what? They was all prominent enough to be up under a king. But King David was actually being exalted to become the king. You see what I'm saying? But nevertheless, that's the same positions that we, we occupy, we are in today, you know? All the men of the Lord, you know, for the most part, I can speak for myself, you know? But as speaking with some of the other brothers, you know what I'm saying, man? There's not no life that we living, man. This go round right here, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Especially being locked and loaded in this truth, man. We don't really desire none of the pleasures of the flesh because we know it's all tainted anyway. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, it's a constant, just like, damn, man, this shit just suck, so on and so forth. But what? The Most High, just like King David, you know, one thing that's like said between the lines here, you know, you could read a prominent account of that in the David and Goliath story. But with David, you know, he always noticed that the Lord walked with him. He learned a lot of things by experience, you know. Also how King David said, look, thou teachest my hands to war, you know, and things like that. David knowing all these different types of fighting skills and stuff like that. Well, you know, just spiritually extrapolating, you know, a lot of the different fighting skills and stuff like that, you know, are how do I say, are ways that animals and things like that operate, right? You know what I'm saying? Who instructed the animals to operate and hunt, and insects to operate and hunt like that, like the praying mantis and jaguar paws? Who instructed that, and who gave King David the knowledge to look at them and learn those types of fighting skills? You know, it was the Most High, but it was through experience that David experienced these things and learned from these things, right? So the same way, being out there in the sheepfold, you know, out there in the barn and stuff, working with the sheep, you learn a lot of stuff, you know what I'm saying? Doing a lot of a grunt work, you know? Like for me personally, just doing different jobs, growing up in life, you know what I'm saying? I learned a lot of different things, you know? For example, something as simple as being a delivery driver, right? People, oh, you was a delivery driver at one point in time. Yeah, well, I mean, shit, I learned, you know, all the ins and outs of my surroundings and things, you know? I think this was actually like one of my first jobs, you know? I started out as a dishwasher and then eventually became, when I got my license, a delivery driver. But early off in my driving life, shit, I know all the back roads and everywhere around my whole city, you know? But nevertheless, I learned from experience, you know, and to this day, you know, if there's a traffic jam or something like that, I know how to get around because of what? Things that I experienced in my past. So the Most High is always just like the 2/3, you know, in the 2/3 scripture talk about, but the third part, you know, is going to be brought through the fire, and tried as fire is tried, or tried as silver is tried, and tried as gold is tried, you know, and in the furnace of adversity. But nevertheless, through experiences and things like that, you know, the Most High right now is how do I say, building you up and shaping you for something. All right. You don't understand, but what? Just like exercise and bodybuilding, it's got to take a lot of pain and how do I say, sweat and all those types of things like that to gain that big, massive body. You're not going to just get that sitting on the couch. You got to work for that. You know, if you want to build a big skyscraper, you got to get your hands dirty. You got to get out there and break a sweat and break some blood, sweat and tears to build a building, you know. But nevertheless, we're going to jump from there. And this is what the Lord has in store for us. You know, the Lord has in store for us a kingdom, you know, the kingdom of heaven. All right. But what we still have to endure these things that we're in right now. It says, I'm going to read Colossians 1:5. For the hope, let me read 4. Since we verse 3. We give thanks to the Most High and the Father of our power, Yahushua HaMashiach, praying always for you, since we heard of your faith in Hamashiach Yahushua, and of the love which you have unto all the saints, for the hope which is laid up for you in heaven, whereof you heard before in the word of the truth of the gospel. All right. And not really touching on, you know, the details of heaven itself, you know what I'm saying, and things that we're going to enjoy and go through in heaven. But just the mere fact that we're not going to be in this hell that much more longer, man. We're not going to be in this state of mind, in this state of being that much longer, you know. waking up every day, having to go to work and just being tired and stuff like that. You know, we're going to be waking up to just like in that movie, the Eddie Murphy movie, Coming to America, I think. You know what I'm saying? Wake up and have people waiting at your feet, you know, and things like that. So we're not going to be enduring this that much more longer, but we got to go through this. And this is our enduring process. You know, this is a building up process. You know, the Most High already promised these things unto us. But what? We have to just so-called play it out. Let it manifest. All right. So from there, we're going to go to the book of Romans. This is Romans 8:14. For as many as are led by the Spirit of the Most High, they are the sons of the Most High. All right, and going into that, what? The men that are led, let me read that. For as many are led by the Spirit of the Most High, they're the sons of the Most High. Being led by the Spirit, what? Being what? Like being led by, first of all, the Spirit of these scriptures, all right? The voices in these scriptures, you know, my sheep hears my voice and they do follow it, right? The do follow its part, the faith, having faith in the things that you read. You know, you could, read these words, understand these words, and so-called believe in these words. But if you ain't, acting on action like the word has called you to do the work, you know, that's not really believing in that. All right, that's not really being led by that Spirit, because the Spirit is telling you, you know, to move, and you're not putting in no action. All right, but continuing on, it says, "For you have not received the spirit of bondage again to fear." All right, but you have received the spirit of adoption, whereby we cry, Abba, Father. So going back up, you have not received the spirit of bondage and again to fear. All right, we waking up to what's going on around us and things like that. Things is getting harder and harder as you know. The devil is being more and more revealed, and just we getting closer and closer to the end. Yet things is getting harder. But what? We haven't been given over to that spirit of bondage and fear. You know, we not like yeah, we're gonna be slaves forever. Oh, this sucks. Oh, this is just how it is. Nah, we crying out into the Father, like, yo, man, we know from the words that we read, we got a kingdom laid up in heaven for us, man. And not only that, it's gonna be afar off. No, we're about to get that kingdom right now. All right. Verse 16 says, "The Spirit itself bear witnesses with our spirit that we're the children of the Most High." And not just that, you know, how does Scripture say? Salakia, the wise, roughly paraphrasing, basically, a wise man crieth out in oppression, you know, like, and basically, if you, in this point in time of our people just ignoring what's going on, and ain't nobody trying to stand up and sign and cry, Ezekiel 9:4, sign and cry for the abominations thereof, you know, our spirit is the ones that's crying out for this here truth, man. Not only if we didn't even know this truth, we would be crying out for these things, you know. It's like, yo, I'm looking for certain puzzle pieces. I just don't know which ones they are. They designed like this, like a triangle, a square, and a circle. This is the pieces that I need. If anybody can find these pieces, we're going to be good as gold. And what? Those pieces wind up being the truth. You know what I'm saying? We still crying out for the same thing. That's just our spirit to cry out for these things. Because why? We tired of like David in the sheepfold, you know, not saying that was something he asked for, but what? You know, he doing his hard, laborious work and stuff like that while his other brothers are being exalted. But what? At the same time, he doing a good work as far as keeping the sheepfold, you know. But what? The Most High starting to exalt him up on high now, you know. But at the same time, you understanding, you starting to understand why and how you do certain things certain ways, you know. You learn by experience, by going through certain things, the importance of other things, you know. And right now with the men of the Lord that's being woken up to these atrocities, just the demonic shit that's going on, we seen the importance of certain things, and we understand how and why we're going to need to implement certain things in the future. I.e., for example, right now you got all these women walking around butt ass naked and just doing all kind of crazy shit, where the majority of the men, they be like, oh yeah, we like that shit. And yeah, a regular sane man would like that shit on the surface level, be like, you know, men, we like booties, titties, and ass and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no problem with that. But when you go on a deeper level than that, like, all right, this is really destroying some shit, man. We like this, but in the privacy of our own bedroom, not in the public walking around. All right. But what? You have people that don't want to discuss those types of things. But what? You have, the men of the Lord that's out here defending righteousness. All right. And shouting out evil. All right. Verse 17. And if heirs, let me read verse 16 again. The Spirit itself bear witness with our spirit that we're the children of the Most High. Because why? We're crying out for that truth. All right. We denouncing that evil. And if children, then heirs of the Most High. and joint heirs with Hamashiach, if so be that we suffer with him, that we may be also glorified together. And so going back to what? King David out there in that sheepfold, you know what I'm saying? Hey, look, he's suffering out in the sheepfold, you know what I'm saying? But what? We just, we like the same little shepherds being in charge of the Lord's sheep at the same time, being built up to be raised up to be king, kings over top of his people, leaders over top of his people. Right now, i.e. in the things that we go, we go through right now, build us up and give us, experience to relay back out to the brethren while we, give forth these epistles, more or less to say. Our reading and our studying, and when we study to go back to, relay a message or things like that, that's always for the brethren, These are examples of us being built up to become leaders over top of, the Lord's house, over his people, Continuing on, it says, let me read that again. It says, if so be that we suffer with him, that we may be also glorified together. But nevertheless, we also have to suffer through these things, We have to suffer the affliction, the persecution, and these types of things. He suffered for. We also have to suffer, through these minor afflictions throughout the end. But we're going to be glorified with them. Verse 18, for reckon that the suffering of this present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory which shall be revealed in us. So again, going back to King David in his youth, suffering in those sheep piles of shit, falling over in that and having to chase down disgruntled sheep and things like that. Hey man, that ain't nothing in comparison to being the king that he was going to be. All right. And in comparison to what the blessings that the Most High was going to give him, he probably would have did that for another 10, 20 more years if he still would have known he would have got what he was getting. Same with us. When we look back on the trials and the tribulation and a little bit of hell that we catching now, all right, we're going to be like, man, we would have went through that 100 more years, bro. It wasn't even that long that we was going through it, We're going to look back at these same things, all right? But what? In all reality, verse 19, the earnest expectation of the creature waited for the manifestation of the sons of the Most High, all right? Yeah, and what? Psalms 83, Psalms 82 and 6, for we are all the children of the Most High. I say you're gods, you're all the children of the Most High. Yeah, we earnest, and especially the men of the Lord, we earnestly discerning to be in our righteous bodies, all right? We earnestly discerning to be, first and foremost, not for power's sake, but for the mere sake of having the law, statutes, commandments written inside of us, that we don't go off, that we don't sin no more. That's very, heavy and burdensome on our spirits, Once we can get that weight lifted off of our chest, then we can breathe. So we earnestly desiring to have the law, statutes, commandments written inside of us, so we don't ever have to even be in the presence of the Most High, basically disrespectful, because in our flesh, we just going off regardless, all right? But nevertheless, we desiring to be in that righteous state, all right? We desiring to be righteous before the Most High, all right? Verse 20, for the creature was made subject to vanity, not willing, but by reason of him who was subjected in the same of hope. And one of the main reasons why our spirits is desiring to be holy and righteous is because we not created to go off, just like any other angel or any other creature, like all the, how do they say, angels and demons, any of them that you read about, they wasn't created to go off. So if they was created to be a damn demon, how you would explain a horrible demonic ass demon, he not gonna go off from what he's designed to do. Same with the righteous angels. They don't go off and rebel like you think about Satan, that he rebelled. No, Satan was created to be who Satan was. All right, there's no rebellious angels, and we the same as those things. But let me read this again. It says, for the creature, being those angels, those like we all spirits, but the original angel, the creators, that was the elect. All right, it says in Israel, it says, for the creature was made subject to vanity. So basically, they was made to go off, not willingly, not because they wanted to go off, but by reason of him who subjected them to vanity, the Most High. The same in hope. He also cast us in the position of hope, and that's where we at now. That the hope that these well, not really that the hope that the prophecies come to pass. The hope that we be accounted worthy to be partakers of the first fruits of that. All right, because we know the prophecies come to pass. All the other ones came to pass. All right, we just hoping we can be counted worthy for this. All right, verse 21. Because the creature itself shall also be delivered from bondage of the corruption into the glorious liberties of the children of the Most High. So what? We're going to be delivered into that new glorious body, the new glorious kingdom. We're going to come up out of this here bondage, man. All right. The Most High is taking us from the sheepcote, from this fucked up, corruptible body, figuratively and spiritually and actually physically, because we're going to shed these actual bodies. We're going to shed this state of being in hell that we in. All right. And we're going to shed, how do I say, our spiritual minds that we got now, how we keep constantly going off. And he's going to put the law, statutes, commandments inside of us. So we're going to be fully righteous. All right. It says, verse 21 again, because the children itself also shall be delivered from the bondage of corruption into the glorious liberties of the children of the Most High. For we know that the whole creation groaneth and travaileth in pain together unto now. So shit, really the 2/3 and the 1/3 is they spirits is crying out right now, man. These damn 2/3, how you say, these bug outs, not even the bug outs, just regular ass 2/3, these demonic ass, all of these motherfuckers are still bugging the fuck out, you know? Like they spirits know the day off. You know what I'm saying? They just want to either die or whatever, whatnot. That's why they heavily on drugs. And the same with the men of the Lord. We bug the fuck out too and vex with this oppression. But what? We find our comfort and our sanity in these scriptures. That's the difference between us and them. All right, we got we got comfort. All right. Oh shit, I can read verse 23. And not only they, but ourselves also, which have the first fruits of the spirits, even we ourselves grown within ourselves, waiting for the adoption to be with the redemption of our body. All right. For we are saved by hope, but hope that is seen is not hope. For what a man seeth, why does he hope for it? All right. But if we hope for that what we see not, then we do. But then do we with patience wait for it? And that's what we patiently waiting on. We patiently waiting on this transformation of our body. Though we see our bodies getting more and more decrepit, though we see it getting harder and harder on us, though we seeing just everything just looking worse and worse for us, man. But what? The Most High has got a glorious kingdom prepared for us. And if you really look at the things that's being already presented unto you, what? Now you know you're an Israelite. You seeing more and more your brother waking up. So you seeing these prophecies coming to pass all around you. Why wouldn't the rest of them come to pass? All right. The Lord is already telling you he's got a kingdom prepared for you, man. He's got a whole new future and everything set forth for you where you're going to be on top. All right. This is Hebrews chapter 10, verse 32. But calling to remembrance the former days in which after you were illuminated, you endured a great fight of affliction. So like I was just saying, look, you know what I'm saying? Like the road may get tough and things like that. You know, it's kind of hard out here right now. You know what I'm saying? Or like going back to King David in that barn, you know, with them sheep. It's raining, smell like sheep shit, and you just hate your job, bro. Why? You know, I just can't stand this shit, bro. I know I just feel like I'm supposed to be better than this, or something that's just wrong, you know. And come on, Lord, man, I'm over here dealing with this, you know what I'm saying? You just know where you at, man. We in Babylon, all this crazy shit. Esau fucking with me. Esau know what he doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is some bullshit. Our women is fucked up. Our people is fucked up. Everything is fucked up. You know, you just looking at all this shit and you just, damn, you in that position. But what? Calling a remembrance from the day that you learned this truth. All right. When you first woke up to this whole thing, when your eyes was first open, you know what I'm saying? That's when things first got better. Like, oh shit, you know, it's sweet in your mouth, but bitter in your belly. You know, you stuck in that bitterness in your belly right now. Go back to when it was sweet in your mouth and you can see the bigger picture. All right. It says, partly while you were made a gazing stock, both by reproach and afflictions, and partly while you became companions of them which were so used. All right. Look back to when you was catching your hell. You know what I'm saying? When you was catching all this, the hell with everybody else. For you had compassion of me and my bonds, and took joyfully the spoiling of your goods, knowing in yourselves that you have in heaven a better and enduring substance. So, you know, going back to those things, you know, especially when you was hot and on fire for this, when you was taking these afflictions gladly because you knew what you had in heaven. Think back to those days. Them things are still laid up there in heaven, you know. You just kind of, you know, getting a little worn down from the daily afflictions and things that's building. But what? The Most High got a glorious kingdom set forth for his men. And, you know, part of a lot of the afflictions that you're going through right now is for your own building sake, for your, you know, your own purging sake. All right. Verse 36, for you have need of patience, that after ye have done the will of the Most High, you might receive the promise. So that's what we in need of right now is patience, faith, and strength. All right. Patience to endure, which, you know, patience and long suffering to endure, faith, you know, to keep believing and stay focused on, you know what I'm saying, the task at hand. All right. And basically, I forgot what I said, patience, faith, and, really hope. There's a lot of other things as well, like, that's all in the same token, but nevertheless, we got to keep our eye on our prize, on Yahushua. The words is written in hand, the words is already written, how do I say, prophetically for our future. Those words are already spoken. Have faith in those words, and that's all we need to keep our eye on, and wait patiently. All right. It says, for you have need of patience, that after you have done the will of the Most High, all right, going back out and preaching the word, that you might receive the promise. So you already in the middle of the process of so-called reaping the reward. You at the car dealership right now, filling out a stack of paperwork, and you like, bro, I just want to buy a car, this and that. Like, bro, you only got 2 more pages left, and this car is yours forever. Like, don't give up now. I know you didn't sign 4,000 pages. You know what I'm saying? You tired of signing paper. It's 10 days later. I know you tired, but you only got 2 more pages left to sign. Don't give up now. It says you have need of patience, that after you have done the will of the Most High, you might receive the promise. For yet a little while, that he that shall come will come and will not tarry. And now the just shall live by faith. But if any man draw back, my soul shall have no pleasure in him. For we are not of them who draw back unto perdition, but of them that believe to the saving of the soul. So like I said, man, you only got 2 more pages left, just as an example, not to say, 2 pages, but nevertheless, we almost at the end of this here fight, man. And the Most High is building us up already. Just look back on how far you already came, man. Look back to where you was at and to where you at now. Look at the how do I say, look forth of what your fruit is bringing forth. Look forth of what your actions and what you've been doing. Look forth of your own how do I say, transformation in your own self, the things that you started doing for your own self. You know what I'm saying? To better your own self because of the things that you learned in the scriptures. Okay, maybe I am starting to check my diet now. Maybe I am not gonna be, pollute myself with all this bullshit and GMOs and all this extra shit like that. You know what I'm saying? I gotta kind of take care of myself. Continuing on, this is Matthew chapter 5, verse 5. It says, blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are they which do hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they shall be filled. All right, in the minute of the Lord, like I said, right now you catching, you feel like David in the sheep, in the little barn with the sheep, man. My brothers is getting it right now, enjoying life, and I'm out here with these bullshit ass sheep, But what? We out here hungering and thirsting, well, how some people could say we out here hungering and thirsting to live life and enjoy life and stuff like that. But really, I hunger and I thirst for this righteousness to come, to be able to enjoy the righteousness or enjoy this life. And righteousness is even more than just the will to enjoy the life, Like, yeah, I would love to have a wife and kids and a house and a home and, a business and stuff like that. But if I can't have it in righteousness and I always got to worry about Esau polluting it, then I don't want the shit at all. You know what I'm saying? So we desire to have righteousness more than that. But what? The Most High say, blessed are them that hunger, but they going and thirst, but they going to be filled, It says, blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see the Most High. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of the Most High. All right. And it says, blessed are they which are persecuted for righteousness' sakes, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. All right. So, let me just go down to 12. It says, blessed are ye when men shall revile you and persecute you, and you shall and say in all manner evil against you falsely for my sake. Now, notice he say, Yahushua here says, for his sake. All right. Rejoice and be exceedingly glad, for great is your reward in heaven. For so persecuted they the prophets which were before you. And we know that the spirits of the prophets are subject unto the prophets. So it's not nothing new that they persecuting us for Yahushua's namesake, for this doctrine. All right, for these scriptures, the truth of these scriptures. All right, raising up his elect. But nevertheless, you just seeing how do I say it, compare and contrast. Yeah, blessed is the man that's catching all this hell for righteousness' sake, because the kingdom is yours. You got to go through, again, looking back at King David in that sheep barn. No, it wasn't nice in there, falling in shit, smelling like shit, flies all around you, dealing with, again, disgruntled sheep and stuff like that. That's what we doing right now. That's not a real life to be living for any type of person. Like, yo, when's your time to go, so-called enjoy life and things going on? All his other brothers was just living life and living it up, And when somebody came looking to examine the brothers, he wasn't even mentioned. All right. They had to ask about him twice. All right. And that's how we are right now today. Let me continue on. I got a couple more. We're going to close out. This is Revelation 21:7. It says, he that overcometh shall inherit all things, and I will be his power, and he shall be my son. So what? We got to endure this little rocky road and being in that sheepcote, you know what I'm saying? Or in that little barn, or, you know, at the bottom, you know what I'm saying? But the Most High is taking us from the bottom all the way to the top, you know? We being purged of all of our wickedness and seeing, you know what I'm saying, why we need to do certain things and why we don't need to do certain things. And we seeing the wickedness and how to fix all these things, all right? We are becoming, how do I say, experienced leaders on how to rule and run a society. You know what I'm saying? Just, you know, through the things that we're going through right now and what the Most High is building us up with. All right. This is Daniel chapter 7, verse 27. And the kingdom and the dominion of the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven shall be given unto the people of the saints of the Most High, whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and all dominion shall serve and obey him. All right, so the Most High said it. What make you think it's not going to come to pass? All right, and you men that's catching hell right now for this here work, all right, who you think is going to be in charge of that? You think that the Lord going to give this to the 2/3, the ones that's out there twerking and pulling a Lil John or Lil Wayne or a Lil Durk or whatever, you know, doing all that? You think the Lord going to give it to a nigga like Lil Boo to rule over, you know, his people, all right, to be the first fruits of his nation, to be his elites? No, man. Yeah, you got these little Uzi Verts, and I don't know if he a Jake. I don't know if these motherfuckers are Jakes or not, but nevertheless, you got these little rappers and shits, little 21 Savages being the so-called leaders of our people. You think on this side right now, you know, you think the Jay-Z's and stuff, you think that the Lord's going to put them up on top? What are they doing for the Lord right now in the presence of his people right now in the time when the Lord is about to make his return? They're not doing nothing but what? You men of the Lord, you know, those would be representations of David's brothers. But you men of the Lord that's out there in the damn sheep, the sheep barn out there, dealing with the dirty ass sheep, be out there on the highways and the byways, dealing with the bullshit, dealing with Esau on our jobs, dealing with the elements, you know, just doing this here work, you know. We the ones doing all those things now, but the Most High is about to turn everything around, like he told King David, I took you from the sheepcote to ruling over my people, over Israel. All right, now let me jump up to verse 18. But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever and forever. Forever and forever and forever. All right. So that's our promise that the Most High had been promising to us. All right. With that, I'm going to go ahead and close out. Lord willing, this here lesson was edifying unto the elect. Until next time, I say, call halal Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shah, Bahashim, Rakha Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of great millstone, taught us the truth and that rule well. And salutation and much love for you, Akim, pushing the truth and sincerity in the four corners of the earth, and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. Stay strong. Shalom.